What, after all, was the point in having the perfect house to entertain if they never did? "Fine, fine," she'd said. "We'll have it on a Friday night." And tonight was that night. With no idea what time it was, she leapt from the bed and dashed out to the landing, where an ornate clock stood on the windowsill. It had been given to them as a wedding present 22 years before. Jack loved it. She detested it. But she had to give it credit. It kept perfect time, and it told her clearly she was very late. Back in the bedroom, she plugged her phone into charge and dressed quickly in her standard workday clothes of tailored black trousers, white shirt, and black jacket. As a single woman, she'd been an adventurous dresser and would think nothing of spending an hour or more putting her look together in the morning. Marriage hadn't altered her routine much, but the arrival of the children had. Returning to work after maternity leave, she discovered the convenience of wearing a smart trouser suit. Initially, she'd matched it with a variety of coloured shirts, but one day she bought a white Armani shirt, and from then on she wore one every single day. The only variation was the jewellery, she added. Today, she picked up a string of dark blue Murano beads they'd bought in Venice on their first wedding anniversary and hung them around her neck. They were heavy, went almost to her waist, and made any outfit look good. Makeup applied with practiced ease, a brush flicked through her straight auburn hair, and she was ready to go. She grabbed her bag and the barely charged phone and rushed down the stairs with one final thing to do. Grab the list she'd stuck to the front of the fridge freezer. Her eyes ran down it and she swore softly. What a stupid idea this had been. Up till a few weeks ago, they'd had a housekeeper. 10 years before, following a succession of unsatisfactory au pairs and unreliable childcare, they'd been alerted by a friend of a friend to a woman looking for part-time work. Rebecca, an English teacher who'd taken early retirement to look after her terminally ill husband and now widowed, wanted something less onerous than teaching. Freya and Remy had taken an instant liking to the kind woman, who appeared to have an endless supply of patience and good humour. She'd come on a temporary basis and stayed, running the house in her calm, unhurried way. There every day when the children came home from school, always waiting with a pot of tea ready when Molly arrived home after a stressful day at work. Rebecca had become part of the family, celebrating when Remy and Freya got the university places they'd wanted, sobbing along with Molly when first Remy, then Freya had left. A week later, Jack insisted there was no longer a reason to have a housekeeper. "It's hard to justify the expense for the two of us," he'd said. Molly had looked at him, horrified. Get rid of Rebecca? He couldn't be serious. Molly was going to argue that they both had busy, high-pressure jobs, and it was a relief to come home to an organised house, the words on the tip of her tongue slipping away when she saw his troubled expression. There had been grumbles recently about work. She'd thought nothing of it. The world of finance tended to be volatile. But maybe this was something else. Something worse. He had been working late more than usual, coming home with heavy eyes, refusing to discuss it, brushing off her concerns. He was drinking more too. Recently she'd noticed a smell of alcohol on his breath when he came home from work. She'd commented on it once. He'd said he'd bumped into an old friend and had joined him for a quick one on the way home. The next time she'd noticed, a day or two later, there was a look in his eyes that said, "Don't ask." "Is everything okay in the office?" she'd ventured, giving him the opening to tell her if there was a problem. She didn't expect an answer. Jack was notoriously reticent about his job, preferring to keep his work separate from his home life. She'd tried to convince him more than once that it was healthier to talk about things, more cathartic and better for his mental well-being. But each time he'd laugh and accuse her of spouting.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.